Alright, and welcome to the second Shadow of Acolyte sermon.
Numero 2.
Numero 2. I'm Dan, and that's Aaron. And
Hello.
what are we going to talk about this week? We're going to talk about video games.
Or computer games, as they're
Or
commonly
computer
called.
games. But what's the difference? What's the difference there? Does it make a difference?
I don't know, actually. Who came up with
What kind of pedantic individual would get upset about video games versus computer games?
Bill Gates, probably.
Actually, yeah, he probably would. Yeah. He was in an advert for Doom. Have you seen the Bill Gates Doom advert?
No.
It's like, that kind of crappy 90s CGI. He's CGI'd into a Doom thing and he shoots an imp and it looks...
Really?
It's the most 90s thing you've ever seen.
Is it as interesting as the Dokken commercial where I think it was an antivirus?
No, they did that.
Yes.
I didn't know
it's
that.
Very funny.
But yeah, so we're going to talk about video games anyway. And I think maybe it tells you a lot about the current two speakers, but I know for one I'm particularly bad when it comes to, I get really hooked on any given video game, and I know you're equally bad.
Yeah.
My weird addiction is actually Minecraft of all things.
I've never played that.
Laugh it up, but I put a lot of time into Minecraft, and I can't have a copy in the house now because otherwise I just never do anything ever again.
No, for me it's Skyrim.
Yeah,
basically,
yeah.
I must have put hundreds and hundreds of hours into that game.
But you're playing on consoles though.
I am, yes.
Because I played Oblivion for hundreds of hours on PC because you can get mods for it and everything like that, and you suddenly you've got thousands of hours just out of new stuff that people have created rather than just the game on its own. But just on console, that's kind of like a cry for help, really, isn't it?
Well, all the mods are available on Skyrim Xbox One.
Are they?
Yeah.
Can you do that?
All the mods
I
are
didn't know
available.
that.
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah, so when they remastered Skyrim for Xbox One, one of the additional features was access to mods.
That's so weird, because that's just something that I've always thought. Okay, that's why you play on PC, because you can't get mods on a console.
Yeah,
but you can.
no. Yeah, there's thousands of mods available for Skyrim.
That's so weird. I did not know that.
Yeah, so I've played loads of the extra levels and stuff, and graphics improvements and
all the
stuff,
standard issue kind of nude mods, and
I've not seen any of those, but I'm sure they exist.
I suppose
somewhere.
there must be some kind of. There's going to be more gatekeeping on console mods, isn't there?
Possibly.
Because that's kind of like the first thing that gets created whenever a new Bethesda game comes out.
Yeah. But
moving swiftly on.
I've always been a console gamer.
Yeah.
Never been PC. Actually, no. I tell a lie. We had probably in about 1994. We had a computer called AST, which I don't think was Atari ST, as I used to get bullied at school. But I think they once sponsored Aston Villa Football Club, actually. AST.
God.
Anyway, we had loads of games on that, and I think one of them was probably FIFA.
The Dark Project.
Yes, I had
Thief the Dark Project is fantastic.
Thief Dark Project, Thief 2.
Everyone says Thief 2 is better, but I never got on with Thief 2 as much.
Yeah,
I think maybe
the Bronze Age, was it?
it was the Metal Age.
Metal Age. That's
No,
it.
I think I've got that bad nostalgia about Thief 1 that the only reason I don't enjoy Thief 2 as much is because it's not, I've not got that kind of nostalgia.
But we had that PC for a long time.
I mean, I probably not that I'm old enough to remember, but I would go back further because I used to play a lot of DOS games and that kind of thing.
Well, before that, if we're going back to the Dark Ages, I had I think it was a Commodore where the games were actually cassettes.
Oh my goodness.
And you had to load them up. The cassette player was actually inside the keyboard, and you had to load the cassette in, and then it would take time to actually load the game. And sometimes
this is for all you kids listening.
And sometimes it would take 20 minutes to load the game. At like minute 19 it would crash, and then you'd have to start again. But the funny thing was about my Commodore, I'm sure it's a Commodore, I'm sure someone will correct me if I'm wrong.
Oh, we will.
but the monitor was actually black and white. So, get this.
Is it real black and white, or is it that kind of like where everything's kind of black or blue?
No, it was black and white.
Black and white.
And the funny thing was, when I was playing my Jimmy White Whirlwind snooker, think about that for a minute. Black and white screen, snooker. So I obviously always lost because I couldn't tell the difference between red, blue, pink, brown.
Turns out it never was a black and white screen. Aaron's just colourblind. Completely colourblind.
Possibly. So, yeah, I slightly told a lie then when I said I've always been a console gamer, but...
because I remember like being very young and discovering, me and my brother discovered my dad's copy of Doom, and we played a lot of Doom.
I had Doom.
We had a lot of, like, because we discovered Doom and kind of years and years of Mac format CDs. Like, you know, those old demo discs you used to get. And that had, you know, demos of everything, so we kind of discovered all these old games from that. But I used to play, you know, a lot of those kind of first-person shooters. Well, I mean, you've got all the kind of Doom, Duke Nukem, Shadow Warrior,
Wolfenstein.
Well, Wolfenstein, and we'll get onto that in a minute. But also Descent. Did you ever play Descent?
I don't think so.
It was one of that kind of short-lived period of these kind of
Doom clones.
No, not well. It wasn't a Doom clone because it was like you were in a spaceship, and so you were flying around in zero gravity around the, and and it was really cool. And there's a couple of games that tried to do things like it, but there were none that did it as well as Descent. You know, unless you get, because that was like in close, like Doom levels, but with kind of, you know, it's kind of like Wing Commander crossed with Doom, basically.
Okay.
But you know, because obviously Wing Commander was all a lot more. Well, more simulation based, and it was kind of more open space rather than these enclosed levels. But it was, Descent was quite arcadey, but I loved Descent. Descent 3 was rubbish, but Descent 1 and 2 I absolutely loved.
Right.
Yeah. Other DOS, I mean, like I said, I'm thinking DOS games. Prince of Persia, like the original.
I remember that, yeah.
So I absolutely loved that, and I spent probably about 10 years trying to finish it because I was like, you know, I must have started playing that when I was about 6 or something, 6 or 7. But absolutely loved Prince of Persia.
Yeah, there was a couple of other good PC games that I dabbled with. There was Star Wars Jedi Knight.
Yes, Jedi Knight 2, Jedi Outcast.
Knight 2 was good, yeah. And then I think I had the first Far Cry. The
first Far Cry. Well, that came out. Far Cry came out at the same time as Half-Life 2 and Doom 3.
Half-Life 2 was good, yeah.
Yeah. I remember, because one of the first kind of times I played a proper video game, I went through, because my dad had a copy of Half-Life, which I played through, and Return to Castle Wolfenstein, which I think is the greatest first-person shooter of all time, Return to Castle Wolfenstein. But I remember being really hyped about Half-Life, and I played through all of Opposing Forces and Blue Shift. And my video game claim to fame, which there is no proof of, and there never will be, is I went through all of Half-Life Opposing Forces using only the pipe wrench.
Okay.
Well, I think at some point you've got to shoot down a helicopter, but otherwise it's only the kind of the pipe wrench weapon. And it was all done by save scumming the whole way through. But that's what we did. You know, back when there were no achievements.
That's right.
Just did it for
fun.
But you know, being really hyped about Half-Life and that kind of thing. I remember looking forward to Half-Life 2 coming out, which is really weird because, like, I remember every single E3 kind of video they had all this kind of like demo footage of it, and then when it came out, it was on Steam, and that was absolutely horrible at the time. So like, you just couldn't play the game because it would just fail to log in or whatever.
Okay.
But it seems really weird now, thinking like I can remember the day Half-Life 2 came out, like coming home from school and playing that, and that's because that's 2004, so that's 14 years ago now.
Long time.
Yeah.
What, were you like 3?
I think I must have been 10.
Okay.
So there you go, but yeah.
So we can now work out your real age.
Yeah.
Yes. So I mean, for the last 7 years, I've had a Mac. So
that basically means the only game you can play is Solitaire.
Well,
actually, do they have that on Mac?
I don't think they do.
Yeah.
So I haven't done any PC gaming for a long time, but I had a PlayStation, and then
A PS1.
PS1.
So I had a PS1. Never had a PS2, but I had a PS1.
No, I didn't have a PS2, but I had a PS. I actually had two PS1s because the first one broke, and it did this weird thing where it would only work when you turned it upside down, which I think was a common problem with.
Is that like a CD motor thing?
Something to do with that, yeah. So I had two PS1s, and then I think I had probably about an 8-year gap.
What did you have on PS1? Because I mean, immediately the games I had on PS1, we had Rayman, Croc, Tenchu 2.
Okay.
And I think my older sister used to play a lot of the Final Fantasy games, like Final Fantasy 9. Like specifically 9 is the one I remember.
Right.
I really like that. But I could never do RPGs. But I remember watching them do it.
Yeah. So I had the first Tomb Raider.
First Tomb Raider. Because I never played Tomb Raider.
Did you not?
No.
See,
I played the demo.
When Tomb Raider first came out, one of our friends from school had it, and it was just utterly unbelievable because prior to that we were all used to 2D games, and to have this kind of semi-open world game with graphics was just, it was unbelievable.
Well, that's something I was gonna say in a minute. You know what I was gonna ask is, what's that game where you played and you thought, oh my god, I didn't know video games could be like.
It was Tomb Raider 1
because for me, I played a lot of games up until I guess about 2004, 2005. Then I stopped. Actually, no, let me think. Because Assassin's Creed 1 came out in about 2007.
Yeah.
And I played that when it came out on PC using some dicey Russian crack version or whatever. And then I kind of stopped playing video games for a fair while after that. For a couple of years. And Assassin's Creed 1 was great and I loved it. But it's quite. You can see they're testing things out. And then I tried, I stopped playing video games for a couple of years, and I came back and played Assassin's Creed 2, and I'd never seen graphics like that, or gameplay like that, or story like that, or music like that. I was like, oh my god, I couldn't believe, I just could not believe it. I was so engrossed by that game and the new Deus Ex, which I really liked, but I still don't think it's a patch on the original, which I have, like every single decision in that game, I think I've got memorized.
Yeah, so I think it would be Tomb Raider 1 for me, just because I'd come from the generation of cassettes, floppy disks, and then seeing that for the first time just blew everybody's mind. So, but on the PlayStation I had Tomb Raider 1, 2, 3. Then I think it was Tomb Raider
Chronicles.
Because
I did have Chronicles actually.
Revelation, I think, might have been the fourth one, perhaps.
Yeah.
But I had a few other games. I think there was Colin McRae Rally.
Never got into racing games up until I played Burnout.
GTA. No, not GTA. Yes, I did have the first GTA.
Because they had the first two and then London, didn't they? Which
2D, I think, the first one. I had Gran Turismo. And then there was a really great game called Driver.
Yes, I know. I'd played Driver 2, which is the one you could get out of your car on.
Yes.
And his gun had a shadow, but his hand did not. His shadow had a gun, but his real person did not, which was weird.
That's interesting.
It's just one of these weird things
Never
you
noticed that.
No, Driver I really like, because that was like, I was trying to get in there before Grand Theft Auto 3 came out.
Yes, and that was, it was a pretty good game actually. So there was lots of cheats for that, so you could.
All of those games had amazing cheats, and that's something you just don't get now.
No, and you used to be able to buy magazines which were just cheat magazines.
Because I remember Grand Theft Auto 4 had cheats. Like you could put cheats in and make things happen.
Yeah.
And I can't think of a single other new game on consoles where you could do that. Because on PC you got console commands and that kind of thing. Yeah. It's kind of a shame, really, isn't it?
Yeah. So I think that was kind of my computer gaming life up until university.
Yeah.
And then I had a break of about 8 years, I think.
Yeah.
Is it 8 years? Yeah. About 8 years, and then I slipped back into Xbox 360.
Yeah.
Had what did I have? I had Red Dead Redemption.
So I never played Red Dead. I did play through the new Fallout games, which I did not like as much as the original Fallout.
Yeah. Well, I had Skyrim. Now, I've got quite a funny story with Skyrim on the Xbox 360. So, when I first bought an Xbox 360, it came with the old, it's not VGA cable, but is it RCA
composite.
cable? Yeah.
No, yes, composite,
Yes.
and then the HD one is component.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it was the composite cable, which, unbeknownst to me, gave you poor graphics.
Yes.
And everyone was raving about Skyrim and said it was the greatest graphics they'd ever seen on an Xbox game. So I bought it, and my cable, and when I actually made the decision to buy one and swap them out, it was like going from being blind.
I remember doing the same thing playing
to being
Core
able
Juarez.
to see. Yeah, and it was just, I was laughing because I was such an idiot. So
yeah, I remember playing through Dead Rising on a tiny 14-inch CRT TV, and that was one of the first games where if you didn't have it in HD, you just couldn't read any of the text, so it was impossible to play basically.
Yeah.
But you could do it, but it was just a nightmare playing through that game. And and that was also one of the games that supposedly used to crash your Xbox because it would overheat or something like that.
Oh, I see.
Because the Xbox 360 was just an absolute piece of crap.
Yeah, I don't think I ever suffered the red ring of death.
We in our family we killed 4, I think.
Did you?
Yeah, or 3 or 4, I think.
Yeah. So I had all the Assassin's Creed games as well.
Yeah.
They were good, and I think for me those games did kind of take it to the next level in terms of gameplay and what you could.
Like I said, I was just when Assassin's Creed 2 came out, I'd just never seen anything like that before.
Yeah.
And it's a bit crap now because every other game is that Ubisoft open world collectibles, towers kind
but
of.
the storyline was really good as well, and I like the idea of kind of Knights Templar and all of that.
Yeah.
So and then what else did I have on there? I had Dead Island,
which I didn't think was very good.
See, I really enjoyed that. I think I found that to be a very immersive experience for me. Although it's very similar to watching The Walking Dead, as in, you
it's slow and boring and nothing happens.
Yeah,
and every time something does happen, it's stupid.
Yes, you like 6 or 7 series in and think this is the same as episode 1. So it's there's only so much you can do, if you know what I mean. But I enjoyed it so much. I've got to.
It's one of those games where it's not necessarily that fun to play. It's just an experience to go through.
Yeah, and Dead Island Riptide was really good as well. But speaking of Red Dead Redemption was really
like I said,
good game.
I've still not played it because I don't have a console anymore.
Right.
What I did love, it was on Xbox, but it was kind of by the time all these new consoles came out. Actually, that's really weird to say because they came out years ago now, didn't they? That's I feel kind of old. I played Alien Isolation, which I thought was amazing.
Oh yes, Mum.
'Cause in terms of horror games,
yes,
I can't think of very many good ones on the ones that really gripped me on the kind of that series of consoles, because nothing ever touched Silent Hill for me, or Silent Hill, 2 and 3. But then, whenever anyone talks about horror on the kind of Xbox 360 kind of era, they all say Dead Space, and I hated Dead Space. Well, I haven't
played that
because it's kind of just System Shock with all the interesting stuff taken out.
Right.
And I absolutely adored System Shock, so I didn't really think very much of it. But Alien Isolation was amazing. I'd never been that on edge from a game before.
Yeah, and I think it was very similar in feel to the Alien film.
Yeah,
the first one where there's only one alien or whatever.
It kind of pushes the boat out a little further. It's very faithful in feel.
Yeah.
But it was a lot of fun to play, and I know there's not really very many games that maybe kind of really kind of get into it like that, because I think I'm kind of desensitized to horror games a lot from playing Silent Hill quite early on.
Yeah.
So now nothing else is as good as that, really.
Nostalgia.
Resident Evil. I mean, I like Resident Evil Remake, and I played through Resident Evil 3, but I was never that hyped about Resident Evil.
No.
Because I enjoyed it, but I was never obsessive about it like a lot of people I knew.
No, I remember reading a lot about Resident Evil, the first one, on PlayStation 1 when I was at school, and all the magazines were raving about it, and I think I played a demo of it, and I didn't like the fact, and again, people correct me if I'm wrong,
We will.
to save your progress you had to find...
Ink ribbons, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and to be fair, that is quite cool when you're doing that.
Very frustrating now.
Yeah. But that's all the point. The whole survival horror thing is about frustrating stuff that puts you on edge and makes you feel uncomfortable. So
True.
Yeah.
True.
But no, Resident Evil 4 I absolutely loved, and I played that to death and back, and kind of did that all on pro mode and so on and so forth. Actually, I tell you what, the GameCube had this spate of remakes, and it had Resident Evil remake. It had the Metal Gear Solid, the Twin Snakes as well, where they redid Metal Gear Solid in the Metal Gear Solid 2 engine, which was absolutely astonishing, I thought.
Yeah, the first Metal Gear Solid, I think only took me about 4 or 5 hours to complete.
Because you skipped the cutscenes, presumably.
Yes.
Because I played through that with all the deliberately thinking, okay, well, I'm going to go through all the cutscenes and see what happens. And at this point, me and the friend who were doing it, we played it through a dozen times, so we could just run through the game really quickly. But we watched every single cutscene without skipping a single thing.
Right.
And it turned what should have been probably about a 2-hour run into an 8-hour run.
No.
There's six or so hours of cutscenes in there.
It's one of them games that I really want them to turn into a film.
It's I think it'll be a much better film than it is a game. And I don't say that because to be critical of the gameplay, because the gameplay is amazing, but the pacing is so skewed on it.
Yeah.
But this has all been gone over by 1,000 people anyway. But yeah, the kind of particularly towards the I played through it with my partner recently, and doing the PlayStation original version, and you spend 5 minutes fighting a boss, 20 minutes kind of in cutscene, 5 minutes fighting another boss, another half hour of cutscene, and so on. It's so weird, but it's amazing stuff. So I think if the game were worse than it was, it would have been a piece of crap. No one would remember it. But the fact that every part of it was so good, it kind of gets away with a lot of weird stuff like that.
Yeah.
Because do you find that you've got weird, like one particular bad game that you besides Dead Island, a bad game that you absolutely love that other people kind of...
I don't think so. No. I think because the age I am, I haven't really got time to be delving into kind of the obscure indie underground games, I like Call of Duty as much as the next chav. I think for me though, Skyrim is just the best game ever made.
Yeah.
Easily.
Yeah.
Easily.
Did you ever play any of the kind of old puzzle games like Myst or the LucasArts stuff?
I had Myst. I had Riven as well.
Riven, yeah.
Riven, and then there was another amazing, similar game to Myst called SPQR.
You were talking about that before,
which was a Roman kind of puzzle.
Was it like set in Rome? Was it one of those kind of like the Journeyman project where it's a time travel or something?
I can't remember, other than it was it was SQP. Was it SQPR?
I thought it was SPQR.
SPQR.
Yeah.
QPR's a football team. But yeah, that was a great game. I'll have to have a look on YouTube to see if there's any.
There always is. There always is. Yeah, because Myst I really liked, but I've only very recently replayed that and actually managed to finish it without, just because I was quite young trying to play it, and I was just, it's just that hard. There's no real way, a kid can get through it. Really, didn't have the patience for it. But I've been going through a lot of these so-called walking simulator games, where it's like Myst without the puzzles, and it's only got this nice story and pretty worlds that you can go through.
Okay.
I've gone through Dear Esther, Gone Home, and I played through the Stanley Parable as well fairly recently, and that's it's got this kind of would-be Stephen Fry person narrating,
right?
But it's a comedy game, but it's so meta and out there that I've never kind of played through a game and been completely speechless, thinking I can't believe this has happened. I can't believe this game is doing this. I just don't understand it. It's really, really cool to play. But it's one of those crap things where it's like, but I can't tell you what happens. You've just got to play it and you'll see. It's like Dark Souls. People said that about Dark Souls as well, which I really like Dark Souls.
Yeah, but I've tried a few different games, similar in feel to Skyrim, which just have always fallen a bit short for me. I tried, what's it called? Dragon Age Inquisition. Didn't like that.
Yeah, well, that's the BioWare thing, because they did Mass Effect as well.
Yeah.
It's kind of like that. Everything about Mass Effect is great except the gameplay.
Okay.
You know what I mean? It's kind of like the dialogue's amazing, the characters are amazing. Just shooting's rubbish, boring.
And then I tried The Witcher 3, which I didn't like either.
That's weird, because everyone seems to love The Witcher.
Yeah,
I've not played it, but
it's won loads of awards and stuff, but it just wasn't anything like Skyrim.
Yeah, it's kind of like Bethesda games have their own, because I see Oblivion, Skyrim as the same game, Fallout 3 and 4 are the same game.
Yeah.
As in to Oblivion and Skyrim, they're the same thing. Like the Bethesda RPG is just this kind of thing all in and of itself. It's not like any other. I mean, maybe it's similar to other, but it's not the same as other kind of fantasy RPGs or whatever.
No.
Or Western RPGs, not like the kind of Final Fantasy JRPG
Yeah,
thing.
and I think what I don't like about those games is having to like cast combinations of spells and stuff. I just want to take a sword out and
because it's
someone.
simple. The Bethesda stuff is really, really simple.
Yeah.
And maybe you could see that as a criticism. I don't think it is, but it's not like if you take Fallout or the old Ultima game, there's so much more going on and it's so much less forgiving. Whereas with like Oblivion, it's really everything is very. It's weird to describe a Bethesda game, but everything, all the edges are smoothed off. And you never really find that anything is particularly challenging or exciting. It's always that weird, janky Bethesda feel, isn't it?
Okay, yeah. I mean, Skyrim's one of those games where if I wanted to go through all the missions, then you can. But if you just want to go for a 3-hour walk,
you
can do, and I used to find that quite relaxing actually.
Well, this is why you should play the walking simulator games, because it's like Skyrim without any of the game. It's just got pretty atmosphere and some nice story going on.
Okay,
I love them. Firewatch I want to play. That's one of the supposedly good walking simulator games. That and The Witness, which is supposed to be a kind of knockoff of Myst, basically.
All right, I'd probably be quite interested in that.
Yeah, I want to get that. It's all kind of weird puzzles and that kind of thing. Yeah. Is there anything you're looking forward to at the minute?
Well, Dead Island 2.
You're a man obsessed.
No, I think
the zombie games are gone. We have to forget about the zombie games and move on now.
That's true. I'm looking
now it's Ubisoft it's kind of the kind of climbing up the towers, checkpoints, collectibles, open world.
Yeah,
it's that game.
I'm looking forward to whatever Bethesda releases in terms of a new Skyrim Elder Scrolls game.
Yeah,
I tried the online.
They had an online one, didn't they?
It was crap.
Yeah.
I
feel the same way. Just like I find all MMOs the same thing. I can't get into
the graphics were rubbish.
World of Warcraft as well.
The gameplay was rubbish. So, So I'd quite like to play the new Far Cry game.
That looks quite good. That looks quite good. But then again, it's the same. To me, it looks like the same game as Far Cry 2, and Far Cry 2 I thought was that perfect in terms of it. It might be a little bit janky, but just in terms of going for a walk and exploring.
Yeah,
I thought I absolutely loved it for that, because you could just the game was so boring and slow. Like it was perfect for me because I'm boring and slow. But you can kind of spend 2 hours or 2.5 hours, in an evening playing through one mission in that game.
Yeah.
Kind of you got to go to the mission, then you got to do the mission, then you got to come all the way back, and it's just so the pacing is like just the most chilled thing.
Yeah. But no, I only bought Call of Duty World War II the other day, so I'm looking forward to playing through that. Looking forward to playing all the.
You like your Call of Duty, don't you?
Yeah, I do.
You play because you play a lot of that stuff multiplayer, don't you? Rather than the story, because I played through the stories on the first couple of Call of Duties.
Yeah.
I never really got into the multiplayer thing at all, really.
Yeah, I think the last few Call of Duties I had, I bought Call of Duty Ghosts. Never played through the main game for that. Just played the multiplayer. Same with Call of Duty. Was it Advanced Warfare? Hated that game. That was awful, ridiculous.
So I've not played through any of these. It's all alien to me. They're all the same game because there's so many of them.
They are, but I mean, I was looking forward to a World War II game because I don't like first-person shooters which aren't World War II. So, you know, I'm looking forward to playing 12-year-olds online.
Can we get that in writing? No, I never really got into the online thing. I used to play a lot of Counter-Strike online, as in Counter-Strike Source, not Global Offensive. I played Source online. I used to play Gary's mod a lot. Not as much as my brother did, but because he was just like psychotically obsessed with Gary's mod. I used to play Gary's mod online a bit. I remember before that was turned into its own standalone thing, when it was just still the free mod. You used to have these like game modes where you just had to build a bridge or that kind of thing, and that kind of stupid thing I used to like a lot. Unreal Tournament 2004. I used to play online. Did you play that?
No.
That was quite good. I know they're doing a new Unreal Tournament.
Did that use a Quake engine?
No, that was in competition. That was the Unreal engine in competition with Quake 3, which came out at the same time as the first Unreal game. Which was Quake 3 I liked, but it was far less interesting than Unreal Tournament.
Right.
But I used to like that a lot. I'm not really that bothered by any multiplayer stuff now, just because I can't be bothered because everyone else is better than me. So,
true.
You know the kind of the skill, the amount of skill you need to kind of be able to even compete is so high. There's no point for me.
Well, yeah. I mean, one thing I like doing with the Call of Duty multiplayer games is I always like to be a sniper. And that really upsets the gamers who just go in there all guns blazing. So a lot of the time, players on my own team will actually just try and shoot me. Not that you can kill each other, but they get so frustrated because apparently in Call of Duty multiplayer land they call it camping. Without realising that's
you're the one that no one likes.
That's what snipers do. that's the job of a sniper.
So, do you ever used to play Team Fortress 2? I used to play Team Fortress 2.
No.
Before it went, when they first released it, it was simple and nicely balanced, and I liked it. And then they released like a patch where suddenly the medic was upgraded a lot, and then they released a patch where someone else was upgraded a lot, and it just kind of suddenly there was so much going on with it that it was just completely overwhelming. Yeah. But I used to like that a lot. But yeah, no, in terms of those kind of online multiplayer games, I'm kind of I'm out of the game now.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I still occasionally play Unreal Tournament, but that's kind of about it. Yeah.
So I'll let you know how I get on with Call of Duty World War II.
You don't have to. You don't have to.
Come and join the party.
Yeah. Stick to, I don't know, whatever it is I do in my free time. Solitaire.
Chess.
Actually, Flash games. When I'm bored, I play Flash games. I'm playing, all the zombie games, all Last Stand and Rebuild.
Hypocrite.
Yeah. No, I like them, but yeah, I don't tend to play that kind of. Yeah. Strategy games sometimes I like Command and Conquer a bit. But
I remember when that came out, and Command and Conquer Red Alert, was it?
Red Alert 2 was my favourite.
Right.
By far. I didn't really get into 3 or... I played through some of the Tiberium stuff, but I didn't really get it very much. But I was always about those kind of fast strategy games. I didn't like the Civilization grand strategy thing at all. But yeah, no, that's kind of it for me for games.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not a huge gamer, but if you know what I mean.
You're a huge secret gamer, and I think maybe there's a lot of people like that.
Yes,
maybe you, the listener, are like that.
I like to buy my games from CEX, not going into game, because I would be
You're too cheap for it.
Yeah,
I'm too cheap for it. Never pre-order anything.
Yeah.
No. Either way, I don't know. People should kind of message us or comment on the Shadow of Acolyte Facebook page, or all the Twitter or Instagram or social media. It's Shadow of Acolyte on everything, and we've got the website at Shadow of Acolyte, www.shadowofacolyte.co.com and .co.uk.
Yes.
Yeah, and all that good stuff. Yeah.
And if there's any topics you want us to cover in future,
yeah,
let us know.
If there's any topics you don't want us to cover, please speak to our attorney. Until next time.
Over and out.